As many people know, the COVID virus is making a rapid comeback across many parts of the United States, and especially in Puerto Rico. This virus is known to be deadly, especially to the elderly, to children, and to those with compromised immune systems. Dr. Adriana Luna is former Miss Petite Teen Puerto Rico, a self-proclaimed social media influencer, and a recent veterinarian. She was scheduled to testify in my court proceeding on Friday, October 4th, but on the afternoon of Thursday, October 3rd, Dr. Luna presented this doctor's note to the prosecutor to excuse herself from attending court. It states that due to a current COVID infection, she should not work or be around the public. Despite knowing about this court date for a month and having this doctor's note for several days ahead of the court hearing, Dr. Luna waited until the afternoon prior to the court hearing to present this note to the prosecutor, according to the prosecutor, Andres Fernandez Vera. This is now the third or fourth time in the past 6 months that I have had to fly to Puerto Rico for court hearings that the prosecutor knew were going to be canceled because he decided intentionally not to inform me or my attorney until I'd show up for court, knowing that I had to fly there from Florida, spending hundreds of dollars for a round-trip flight and to rent a car. They keep playing games. Let's take a look at this doctor's note. It looks very strange to me because when I was in Puerto Rico, I was diagnosed with COVID and I went to urgent care and I got an actual printout is what the hospital gave me, stating the type of COVID infection I had and the follow-up instructions. It was not handwritten in pen or Sharpie in English on a prescription notepad. So this got me thinking, who is Dr. Willie Vazquez? And why does Dr. Adriana Luna have a doctor's note from a doctor located in Ponce, which is a substantial distance from San Juan, where Dr. Luna lives and works? So let's look into what we found. One thing I was already aware of is that Dr. Adriana Luna has been in a long-term relationship with PJ Sin Suela, who is a Puerto Rican rapper and also a physician. So then I got to thinking, what is the actual name of her doctor boyfriend? And his actual name is Dr. Pedro Juan Vazquez. Interestingly, PJ Sin Suela, also known as Dr. Pedro Juan Vazquez, is also from Ponce, the same location of the Dr. Willie Vazquez, who wrote Dr. Luna's note stating that she has infectious COVID and cannot be around the public. Now this was getting very intriguing. What are the odds that there are two Dr. Vazquezes in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and that one of them happens to be dating Dr. Adriana Luna, while the other wrote her a note to get her out of attending court by saying that she has COVID? A simple Google search turned up this result from Wikipedia, stating that PJ Sin Suela, the boyfriend of Dr. Luna, has a father named Wilfredo Vazquez Olivencia. This Wilfredo Vazquez is none other than Dr. Willie Vazquez, the same doctor who wrote Dr. Luna's excuse for court stating that she is infectious with COVID and cannot be around the public. This we were able to further verify by looking up the medical licenses of both Willie Vazquez and Pedro Juan Vazquez, also known as PJ Sin Suela. They share the exact same office and suite location in Ponce. Since court was canceled as a result of this doctor's note for Dr. Luna, and I'd spent over $500 for a round-trip airfare and to rent a car and drive 100 miles across the island for my court hearing, I decided to stop by Dr. Vazquez's office in Ponce. Unfortunately, he is closed on Fridays, but here you can see on the door to his office he has a warning notice about the resurgence of COVID and the precautions needed to keep everybody safe. So did Dr. Luna abide by her doctor's orders and stay home and not work and not be around the public? No, according to this lady who owns Indy's Paradise dog grooming business, she met with Dr. Luna on Friday to get this puppy ready to be adopted. Friday, the same day that Dr. Luna could not appear in court due to her active and infectious COVID. And here's a cute little puppy that got to see Dr. Luna with her COVID infection, along with the nice lady that was previously seen holding the puppy. I wonder if she let this lady know that she had an active COVID infection. We are not sure how many other innocent citizens Dr. Luna exposed to her COVID infection between October 1st and Friday, October 4th at her veterinary practice or in other places in public, but this is barely the tip of the iceberg. On Sunday, October 6th, the boyfriend of Dr. Luna, famous rapper PJ Sin Suela, posted on Facebook and Instagram talking about how Dr. Luna himself and a handful of volunteers went to the home of an elderly gentleman to clean his house and vaccinate his dogs and to help take care of a hoarding situation where this elderly man had 27 unsterilized dogs living in his house, which was very filthy and disgusting, according to Dr. Luna.
Adriana la llamaron. Se llevó 6 perros que le está buscando casa si quieren buscar perritos, pero él tiene 8 machos atrás que los vacunaron todos y le dieron preventivo, y adentro tiene 3 popis más como 12 hembras. Tenía todo eso dentro de la casa llena de necesidades de los animales, un montón de cosas que se podían botar. Vinimos a vacunar los perros, pero en verdad no se podía dejar como estaba y por ahí van. Ok, escupió, cuéntame.
Vamos a volver para casa de don José, así que si usted quiere venir a ayudar, por favor, escríbanos para que nos acompañen a la próxima visita. Y me meto la que le botamos.
Hay un sofá, 1000 cosas. Gracias a todo el corillo de ayudado, ya seguimos, pero es mejoría.
Dr. Luna, accompanied by her physician boyfriend, not only exposed this very vulnerable elderly gentleman to her COVID infection, but she also exposed multiple volunteers, including these 2 ladies who she thanks on her Facebook page for coming all the way from Arecibo to help clean up this elderly gentleman's house and get the dogs vaccinated and cared for. Were these women made aware that Dr. Luna has an active infectious COVID disease that they could easily catch? Did the elderly gentleman know? Is anyone checking on him? Has he come down with any symptoms since? This is completely unacceptable, especially as a medical doctor, both her and her boyfriend.
Sí, que está enfermo, pero bueno, anyways.
Se le salió un voto.
Hola. Busca casa.
Me llamo Perulín. Escoger el perro, vacunarlo y llenar estos papelitos que ahí ustedes nos pueden ayudar con eso. Es decir, como que sexo, si no está utilizado y aproximarle un peso.
Ok.
So...
¿Usted?
Ya está.
Ah, márcala.
Ya está.
Acá está mal.
Ahora
¿La
ya.
puedo cortar?
Ahora sí puede. Hay agua, Mari.
No hace daño a los perritos.
Eso quedan.
Uno a la vez. Aguante.
Ya están. Ahora es más o menos lo que pasa en PR. Mejoría. Mejoría. Estoy vacunando.
No, los de mi clínica son malísimos. O sea, no es feral.
No, que están, ahora están más chilling.
¿Y ese está?
No le voy a hacer daño.
Déjame marcarlo entonces.
Ustedes están ya fuera.
Siguen saliendo.
Tú estás haciendo un blog de mí hoy.
No, bebé.
Ay, Dios mío, no sé qué yo hice.
Ay, los 3 bebés. Y Axel el loquillo.
A ver, se va a ver. I'm sick.
Ok, escupió. Cuéntame.
So after spending the day on Sunday at this elderly gentleman's house where she can be seen coughing, spitting, and stating that she is sick, what was her next move? Her next move was the very next day, on Monday, to go to the San Gabriel School for Deaf Children and give a presentation about how to care for animals and what it means to be a veterinarian. Do you think Dr. Luna wore a mask? Did she social distance? Did she even inform any of these extremely vulnerable young children or the staff members from the school that she had an active COVID infection, including a doctor's note that she had used only 3 days before to get out of testifying in court? She's clearly not asymptomatic when less than 24 hours prior to this, she's coughing, spitting, and both her and her physician boyfriend are saying on camera that she is very sick. And how does she do this? How does she go to a school for children and expose all of them, not only to her apparently very boring lecture, but also to her active COVID infection? Where's the accountability? Are these people even aware? The arrogance is just appalling. Here she is sitting with a child, a small child in her lap, inches from her face, no mask, no gloves, no social distancing, among the most vulnerable populations, the elderly, the deaf children, and after she has a doctor's note saying she is not to be around the public because her active COVID infection.
A ver, se va a ver. I'm sick.
Ok, escupió. Cuéntame.
Adriana Luna has led a life of privilege where she's gotten away with everything and no one ever holds her accountable. But this is too much. She needs to be held accountable. She cannot be going around exposing children, the elderly, and other innocent civilians to COVID while also using her doctor's note to get out of court. It's like, what, does she only use the doctor's note when she doesn't feel like doing an activity? But when there's going to be cameras and social media opportunities, then it's just fine to expose the public, including children and the elderly, to COVID? Here's the phone number and email address for the Puerto Rico Department of Health. If this has upset you as much as it has upset me, please reach out and contact them. We've also notified the School for the Deaf Children about her COVID status so they can take precautions and get their innocent children tested and Hopefully, none of these vulnerable individuals come down with her sickness.